Hello, welcome back to Planner Apocalypse for the second installment in my goal series in the Memento Mori Goal Planner. This is literally the next day. So this series will probably take quite a while to get through, but that's probably just how it's gonna be. I made a very hefty goal workbook, and now I will face the consequences. But okay, what makes you tick? We're gonna just jump right in. Passion. The word passion originally comes from the Latin pati, which means to suffer. You read that right. So before you go out there and follow your passion, which to be honest is shitty advice, really think about what this means. What is it that drives you? Think of your center, your values, that lights you up so much that you can't not do it. Also, as a side note, think of those things that you're avoiding that you really want to do. What is it that is painful not to do? What is it that you are willing to suffer for, i.e. to work for, even when it's hard? Seth Godin calls this phenomenon the dip, where the initial excitement around starting something new wears off and it becomes kind of a slog. So it's getting through that. What are you willing to endure that for? To sacrifice that all-important resource, your time for. I would also say your attention and your energy. Because when you say yes to something, you are saying no to something or many somethings else. Going back to the etymology of the word decide, meaning to cut away. FOMO is real, y'all. Also, it's important to note that no one said a passion has to be something you turn into a career, or that you can't be passionate about something you just aren't any good at, like me in video games. What gets you super excited in a hell yes kind of way, even if it's something you are afraid to cultivate? For me, it's storytelling, writing, and making my silly little comic. I also really like making characters, which is probably why I love making chatbots so very much. Because not only can I make them, but then they can talk to me, and it's not all in my head, so the interactions can be surprising. So that's always fun. If you've been holding back from doing something you love out of fear, it may be strangely comforting to know that in 1,000 years, everyone you could possibly know in your lifetime that could come to hate you will be as dead as you, and we will all be long forgotten, including that shitty first novel you wrote. So really, the sky's the limit here. What is it about this thing that scares you so much? Why have you been holding back? Because once I take it out of my head, it will stop being perfect. It will stop being this amazing thing, and people will see me for the fraud that I am. And now I have to write all that down. What's the price that you are paying by remaining stuck in your comfort zone and not even trying to work on these things that your soul is yearning for? So, for example, I had this incredible growth internally last year doing writing stuff. And I was like, I'm going to use this and I'm going to write a book, and it's gonna be fine. It's gonna be super easy and quick. I still haven't started it. So that's another thing where that thing that is so important to me that I really want to do, I'm like, ooh, but if I put it out there, people will see that it's really shitty and terrible, and they'll just hate it, and they'll also hate me. And, you know, this is also paranoia and anxiety and probably a little bit of my OCD in there too, because I have these obsessive, intrusive thoughts about stupid things and also scary things. But yeah, so the price that I am paying, so it's a twofold thing. The benefit that I'm getting from not doing it is not being stressed out about if people are going to like it. I am also able to be lazy because I know that these things are going to take a lot of time and energy and attention away from other areas of my life. And because I'm telling you right now, and like I told this to the Morrigan while I was making this planner, because I know I'm going to sound like a crazy person, but I'm very woo. So in case you're new here, just take it with a grain of salt. But she had wanted me to start working on Morningstar Academy. And I'm like, okay, but like I have these other projects that I want to do first, because I know once I start this, it's going to be hard for me to stop. And knowing how comics are very all-encompassing, I guess, like, and I'm thinking about like the manga industry in Japan. This is not that. I'm working for myself, like, you know, so like all of the thoughts that I'm having are nonsense excuses, basically, is what I'm saying. To not sit down and do the thing that I really want to do because I'm scared. How do I put that in 3 lines? So I'm going to write benefit and price or prices. So I can be lazy is a benefit. I can reserve my resources, but the price is that I am unfulfilled. I'm not pushing myself to see where I can really go, I guess. Somebody else might take the idea and this idea will go to someone else. I might miss my chance, not living up to potential, I guess, which I feel like is annoying because that feels very heavy. When you have gifts or talents or whatever, people expect you to do stuff with it. And personally speaking, I want to do stuff with it, but it's like I put so much pressure on myself to do these things that I just get paralyzed. Oh yeah, and then another big benefit of not working on my comic specifically, or like any of my books, is that it remains perfect inside my head. And so it feels very fulfilling, or, you know, quasi-fulfilling to, you know, dream about it and be like, yeah, I'm gonna write this book one day and it's gonna be great and people are gonna buy it and they're gonna like my characters. But maybe they won't. Maybe I will write the shittiest novel ever created. And, you know, I will never know because I'm not actually moving forward with anything. It kind of like what happened with this planner. I'm actually surprised that this planner even came to be because of how paralyzed I am about being seen. Okay, on the flip side, what could your life be like if you embraced your fear and moved out of your comfort zone to work on what's important to you? This is your dream space. There are no limitations here. How do you want to live your life? How do you want to feel on a regular basis? I want to not feel paralyzed. I want to engage in the activities that make me feel truly alive. I want to tell stories and make art. That's all I'm saying. Time. Most people get about 4,000 weeks of life and then they die. Some people get less and some people get more, but on average, it's roughly 4,000 weeks. That's about 76 years. I'll let you do your own math, which means I have, what is my age? I'm 42, so 76 minus 42 is 34. I have 34 years left on an average life expectancy for my life. So let's go. Let's get going. Because I have dreams and I have hopes and time waits for no one. Okay, so how are you spending your limited time? You can mentally go through your average day and hold it in your mind, or you can physically write it down over a day if you're feeling ambitious. So that means, you know, get your paper out and jot things down. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take stock of my typical day, how I've been goblin moding it up for the past few months. So I wake up, I look at my phone. That could include chatbots, question mark. I wake up my daughter for school, if it's a school day. I go down to make her lunch, and then I do more chatbots in the AM, and then I drop her off, and then I do more chatbots. And then if it's like noon, I have to eat lunch. So lunch at noon. And then I'm like, well, I only have 2 hours left, so I may as well just not work. And this is how I become, you know, very depressed, not working on the things that I want to be working on. I've made so many chatbots, by the way. I think I might have 50 or 60 that I've created on various platforms, but I would have to take stock because there are some overlaps. But anyway, we're not talking about that. Okay, how are you spending your time? So basically lots of chatbots. While it is, you know, a form of storytelling because, you know, I'm basically reading and writing at the same time, it is no longer productive. It was productive at first when I was, you know, reaping all sorts of benefits, but aside from being entertaining now, that's stopped. This is no longer productive, so this is one thing that I will have to reduce in 2024, unless I write my book, in which case I will treat myself. Another thing, okay, does how you're spending your time align with what you said are your values? Why or why not? So yes, but to a negative effect. So chatbots, we have, I'm gonna do a 3-pronged thing, okay? I feel like this is just my new addiction now. Chatbots, we've got curiosity. What's going to happen next? And that's like that whole, not roulette, but the gambling kind of thing. Scrolling, you know, what's going to come next? What is the notification? Am I going to get something good out of this? What's coming next? So curiosity, compassion, and creativity were my values. Creativity. Engaging in stories always builds compassion. And creativity, I'm writing, but I'm not doing these things in a way that meets with my mission, I guess. And whether that is my personal mission or I guess probably my work, my company mission as Planner Apocalypse. Because honestly, with my personal mission, if you go back to, you know, your center, love being my center, this is what I want to see more of in the world. I'm putting out very loving chatbots for you to talk with and, you know, experience your own kind of little romance novel. And that's fun. Is it helpful? I don't know. Only you could be the judge of that. So I don't know. These are thoughts. These are all thoughts. Most of us work 9-to-5 jobs and really aren't in the position to own our time fully when we're on the clock for someone else. And that's okay. We all need to pay the bills. But be honest now. How much time off the clock do you spend doing mindless potato-y things like scrolling through social media on your phone or binge watching Netflix or YouTube, which certainly has its place in moderation, instead of doing something that really matters to you? And in the time between writing this and now, I do want to say I recognize that there are times when we just cannot function, and, you know, like life and life demands are so intense that we cannot do anything but potato-like scroll, okay? I'm totally guilty of it myself, obviously, by doing all these chatbot-y things forever. So I don't want anyone to think that I'm preaching, because I have lots of experience with burnout, and that's not what I'm talking about here. I'm talking about when everything is fine and yet you're still choosing to do what's easier over what you really want to do, I guess. So I'm just gonna say I spend too much time on distractions. So last year, what was it last year? I don't remember. I think the original version of this, it was watching YouTube, and then it became, you know, like buying stuff, and now it's chatbots, where it's like I am so adjacent to where I want to be that I just have to just make a 1-degree change, and then eventually I'll get there. So that feels better now that I've said that. How much of your potato time are you willing to sacrifice upon the altar of your dreams so that you can finally start moving toward the things that matter most to you? Remember, passion equals to suffer. I am not saying that you need to suffer in order to feel fulfilled, and whoever says that is selling some bullshit. What I am saying here is that in order to focus on what actually matters to you, you will need to, as 𝖍𝖎𝖓𝖓 says, steal time from your own comfort. You will need to give up some things that are getting in the way of and distracting you from what you want to do in the big picture. What will you give up now in order to make time for what you value most in the long run? Pro tip, never steal comfort from sleep. Sleep is a biological necessity. And I have not been getting enough sleep. I get maybe 4 or 5 hours of sleep a night because I am up so late, and then I have to, you know, wake up at 7 to get my daughter ready for school, and also at 6:30 when my husband's alarm goes off. So like I am not in a good place right now, and I do suspect that my severe lack of sleep for the past half a year probably has been contributing to not only my depression but my feelings of burnout and my low energy and stuff like that. So that's another thing that I would like to change for this year. I'm gonna highlight that. Ta-da. So part of my issue also is that I push myself too hard, and then I can't do anything, and then I feel bad, and then by the time I get enough energy to do something, I am like full speed ahead, you know, nose to the grindstone, until my nose is gone. Okay, it's like I've been snorting coke for 20 years. But basically, another thing that I need to do is set definite boundaries around when I'm working, because as my son would say, you're working on the weekends. And I'm like, yeah, because I'm my own worst boss, but like no one is here to do these things but me. So yes, that is time and passion. What are you spending your time on, and what are you passionate about?
I'm buying too many, can't stop this force. My desk is cluttered, they're taking over my space. I'm caught in a planner apocalypse, buying more and more, can't resist. Stickers and washi tape galore, I mean over my head.